Microsoft doesn't just want to give you AI tools. They want to give you an AI coworker. I think that should make you uncomfortable because there's a big difference between AI that assists you and AI that replaces you. Right now, companies are racing towards something called Agentic AI. Not just chatbots, not just autocomplete, but autonomous systems that can take goals, break them down into tasks, execute them, monitor results, and adjust without constant human input. That's not a helper. That's a worker. And when Microsoft talks about integrating AI agents deeply into Windows, Office, and enterprise systems, that's not a feature update. That's a structural shift. Here's what most people miss. Large language models, the chatbots we're used to, respond when you ask them something. You prompt, they answer. You guide them. But agentic AI is different. You give it a goal. It decides the steps. It calls tools. It runs workflows. It loops until the objective is complete. That's a coworker. Now imagine this inside a company. An AI agent connected to email, calendar, internal documents, CRM systems, code repositories, financial dashboards. Instead of asking it a question, management assigns it a responsibility. Generate weekly reports, monitor customer churn, optimize, review code submissions. It doesn't wait for prompts. It runs. And here's the uncomfortable part. If an AI agent can handle repetitive analysis, reporting, coordination, and structured decision-making, what happens to the junior roles built around those tasks? Because historically, many entry-level jobs exist to process information, compile data, draft documents, prepare summaries, coordinate updates. If those workflows become automated through an integrated AI agent layer, especially inside Microsoft's ecosystem, companies may start asking hard questions. Do we need 3 analysts or 1 analyst plus AI? Do we need multiple coordinators or 1 supervisor with automated agents? This isn't about fear-mongering. It's about incentives. Companies optimize for efficiency. Microsoft delivers deeply integrated agentic systems inside the tools businesses already use. Outlook teams, Excel, Azure adoption becomes frictionless. And frictionless automation scales fast. Now let's separate hype from reality. Agentic AI is not conscious. It's not self-aware. It's not plotting against you. But it is persistent. It can execute structured logic repeatedly without fatigue. It can monitor dashboards 24/7. It can draft responses instantly. It can summarize hundreds of pages in seconds. That kind of productivity changes staffing decisions. But here's where things get more complicated. Agentic AI doesn't eliminate all jobs. It compresses layers. It increases expectations. You're in a role where your value comes from repetitive information processing, you're exposed. If your value comes from judgment, accountability, strategy, negotiation, or creative synthesis, you're safer, at least for now. The real shift isn't AI replacing humans overnight. It's AI redefining what entry-level even means. If junior positions shrink because AI handles the basic tasks, how do people gain experience? That's a serious structural issue. And when Microsoft talks about AI coworkers inside enterprise systems, they're not talking about optional plugins. They're talking about integration at the operating system level. Some call it an agentic OS, an environment where AI isn't an app, it's infrastructure. And infrastructure changes everything. But before we jump to conclusions, we need to understand what agentic AI can realistically do today, and what it still struggles with. Because the truth is more nuanced than the headlines suggest. Let's break that down next. Let's get realistic. Agentic AI sounds powerful, but what can it actually do right now? Today's AI agents can already read and summarize long documents, extract structured data from messy information, generate reports automatically, monitor dashboards and trigger alerts, draft emails based on context, analyze trends across spreadsheets, review code for common errors. If you combine these capabilities with deep integration into Microsoft tools like Excel, Teams, Outlook, SharePoint, and Azure, you create something extremely efficient. Imagine this scenario. A manager asks for a weekly performance report. Instead of assigning it to a junior analyst, the AI agent pulls data from internal dashboards, identifies trends, generates a summary, creates charts in Excel, drafts an executive-ready report, emails it automatically. No fatigue, no scheduling conflicts, no delays. Now multiply that across departments. Marketing automation, financial reporting, customer support triage, internal documentation. This isn't science fiction. Most of the building blocks already exist. But here's the key limitation. AI agents operate within defined logic and accessible data. They struggle with ambiguity. They struggle with incomplete context. They struggle when instructions are vague or goals conflict. For example, an AI agent can generate a report. But can it fully understand political tensions inside a company? Can it anticipate emotional reactions? Can it negotiate trade-offs between competing executives? Not reliably. And that's important, because human workplaces are messy, not purely logical systems. They involve power dynamics, ethics, risk tolerance, and unpredictable behavior. AI agents excel at structured environments. They struggle in chaotic ones. So will Microsoft's AI coworker replace everyone? No, but it doesn't need to replace everyone to reshape the workforce. If one AI agent increases productivity by 30 to 50% in certain roles, companies may simply hire fewer people in those areas going forward. That's where job pressure builds, not through mass layoffs overnight, but through reduced hiring. And reduced hiring affects entry-level opportunities first. Now let's talk about a deeper risk: dependency. If companies build workflows around agentic AI systems, they become dependent on that ecosystem. If the AI layer is deeply integrated into Windows, Azure, and Microsoft 365, switching becomes harder. That strengthens Microsoft's position. It also concentrates control, which raises strategic concerns. Who audits the agent's decisions? Who verifies outputs? Who holds accountability when errors occur? If an AI agent makes a flawed financial summary that influences executive decisions, who is responsible? The human supervisor? The company? The software vendor? These legal and ethical questions are still evolving. Now let's zoom out. This isn't the first time automation reshaped jobs. Industrial machinery replaced manual labor in factories. Spreadsheets replaced ledger clerks. Email reduced the need for certain administrative roles. But each wave also created new roles: automation engineers, data analysts, systems architects, compliance officers. The key difference now is speed. AI evolves rapidly, and integration at the operating system level accelerates adoption. If Microsoft embeds AI deeply into Windows and enterprise environments, the shift could happen faster than previous automation waves. That's what makes people nervous. But nervous doesn't mean hopeless, because the real question isn't will AI take jobs, it's what kind of skills remain valuable. And that's where the conversation gets empowering instead of fearful. Let's talk about how to adapt and how to stay ahead in an AI coworker world. So how do you survive and even thrive in a world where Microsoft's AI coworker becomes normal? First, stop thinking of AI as competition. Start thinking of it as infrastructure. When electricity became common, workers who learned how to use electric tools became more productive. Those who refused to adapt struggled. The same pattern is happening again. If your job is built entirely around repetitive information processing, you're vulnerable. But if your job involves making strategic decisions, understanding business context, evaluating risk, managing people, designing systems, taking responsibility for outcomes, you're still essential. AI can generate options. It can simulate scenarios. It can produce drafts. But accountability still belongs to humans. That's your leverage. Now here's something important. The future employee won't be someone who avoids AI. It will be someone who knows how to supervise it. Instead of manually building spreadsheets, you'll verify AI-generated reports. Instead of drafting everything from scratch, you'll refine and validate outputs. Instead of executing every step, you'll design the workflow that shifts your role upward. And that's good if you're prepared. So what skills should you focus on? Deep domain knowledge. If you work in finance, understand financial principles deeply. If you work in cybersecurity, understand threat models thoroughly. If you're in software, understand system architecture, not just syntax. AI amplifies knowledge, but it also exposes shallow understanding. If you don't know what good looks like, you can't evaluate what AI produces, and that's dangerous. Another critical skill is communication. AI can draft documents, but persuading stakeholders, resolving conflicts, and navigating company politics, it's human territory. Leadership, negotiation, and ethical judgment become more valuable, not less. Now let's talk about something uncomfortable. If entry-level jobs shrink because AI handles basic tasks, companies must rethink career pipelines. How do new workers gain experience if the starter tasks are automated? This may force businesses to create structured training programs instead of relying on trial-by-fire junior roles. It may also increase expectations for self-learning. Students entering the workforce will need to understand AI tools before their first job.
AI
Literacy becomes baseline, not optional. Now let's address the headline directly. Will Microsoft's AI coworker get you fired? Not automatically. But if you refuse to adapt, if you ignore AI tools while others use them efficiently, you could become less competitive. The danger isn't AI replacing everyone overnight. The danger is skill stagnation. Technology always changes. The winners are usually the ones who adapt early. The losers are the ones who pretend change isn't happening. Microsoft isn't building AI coworkers to destroy careers. They're building them because businesses demand efficiency, and efficiency pressures every industry. The smartest move isn't fear, it's preparation. Learn how agentic AI works. Understand how it integrates into enterprise systems. Practice supervising AI outputs instead of blindly trusting them. Develop deep expertise in your field because AI can execute, but it doesn't own consequences. Humans still do. And as long as responsibility remains human, value remains human. The future of work isn't humans versus AI. It's humans who understand AI versus humans who don't. And that's a very different competition.